Trap's about a father and a daughter that go to this very popular concert, and they get there and they realize they're at the center of a very sinister event that's happening. Trap came from a conversation that my daughter Saleka and I were having. My daughter Saleka is a musician, and we were talking about her art form, and we've seen her perform everywhere, and I've been backstage with so many friends that are musicians, so the world of concerts and backstage and what happens and how fans gather and the meet and greets and all that stuff is something that's kind of baked into me. And I thought, wow, this would be a kind of an interesting place to set a thriller. But really it came from the conversation with Saleka, my daughter, that could we combine the idea of a concert and an idea of a thriller together in one experience, and really get both things in one moment where you feel, wow, I'm overwhelmed by the music, but I'm also terrified from the thriller. My particular avenue in filmmaking right now is to do very original, provocative stories. Things that you can't see anywhere else, that don't feel like anything else, so you have to go to see it. And they're meant to be experienced with a group, so that you're laughing together, you're gasping together, and you're trying to piece it together as a group, and you're holding on your edge of seats, and you can feel everybody talking to each other and thinking about it. That group experience is lovely to be a part of. Josh Hartnett was exactly this, what I just described. This person, he lives in England. He doesn't live in Hollywood. He is with his family. He's very philosophical, and he looked me in the eye, and when I met him, I just knew he was ready to go and do anything. And that energy and that electricity was coming off of him, and to play this particular role, I needed someone that was all in and was ready to take a risk. And so I think for audiences, one of the great reasons to come to this movie is seeing the performance that Josh gave. We're fascinated by complex characters, very dark characters, and I am as well. I find it, are there real life monsters among us? Finding the balance of the humanity in a character that does extremely dark things is challenging and wonderful, and I think resonates with audiences. I think the world of Saleka, beyond the fact that she's my daughter, I kind of look to my daughters now as inspiration of, oh, right, that's how you do it. That's how you stay pure and create, because they're just uncorrupted. They're just uncorrupted. They're fierce and uncorrupted. And as they're learning to battle their demons or learn the craft or get the thing out, the one thing they're not compromising is this authenticity. What I wanted it to be, I knew it was gonna be, because Saleka is this pure artist. So I was like, Saleka, this is the situation, this is who I think this fictional character is. Can you write with this angle on this character? But she feels this way to her audience. This is who loves her and why. This was her last album. And we have discussions, and then one song after another Saleka would write, and it would be this kind of Christmas every time she's like, I got another song, and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't wait. And then put the headphones on and listen, or wherever she plays it down in the studio, and I can't believe it. And every time I'm in awe. It's just, when you're with an artist, whether it's Josh or Saleka, who are at that place, that kind of perfect pitch place where they can hear their own voices, you just get out of the way a little bit as a director and a creator. So it's just I hope, I know audiences will feel that authenticity and that magic from the music. Because of the nature that it at its center is music. it's very new and different than my other movies.
I play a character called Lady Raven, who is the singer that's, the concert that the main characters arrive to. And then she sort of gets intertwined with the plot and the main characters in the second half of the movie. Well, this was a very personal one because it was sort of an idea that my dad and I had a long time ago, was to do a project together, kind of bring music and film together, which is something that, they go together very much in our culture, from Bollywood and all that. So it's something that feels very natural, but we wanted to do it in our kind of way that felt more Shyamalan. So that was kind of a seed that was there for a long time. And then he came up with this great idea about, a trap at a concert and kind of making it into a thriller, and there's a serial killer and all of that. And so that was just the beginning of the idea. And then he wrote the script, and there was lots of spots for songs. Originally it was like 18 or 19 songs, and then as the script kind of got narrowed down, it became 14, and I ended up writing an album for it. Finding the sound for the album was the initial point of like, who is this character and where is she coming from? And yes, she's a pop artist, but this music is unique. It's dark and it's edgy and it's fun and it's carefree. And so that was like the first inkling into kind of putting the pieces together for who Lady Raven is. As I was writing the songs, something that was important to me is that, not only do the songs function as like what's happening in the background, but because the music is playing, it's sort of scoring the movie. The songs have to function in both ways, so it kind of made it a fun challenge to create this show that's following his character, but is also functioning separately from it. So it was super challenging but fun. And then for me personally, this was sort of just kind of developed as I was writing the songs. I ended up following a little bit of Cooper's storyline in sort of the lyrics of the songs. And so in the beginning, when you don't know what's happening with him yet, it's very ambiguous. But then sort of as the plot starts to unfold and you realize who he is and things start to uncover, the lyrics are very kind of connected to what's going on. And it's sort of in a subtle way because you don't want it to take it out of, don't want to be taken out of the context of the film. But, little things like, hiding from myself and liar and save me and dead end, and there's a lot of lyrical things in there, source of the bleeding, and just there's a lot of little lyrical content and kind of escalating as he's escalating in his anxiety and trying to get out. As a daughter, I've seen him, through my whole life, and just his passion for filmmaking is one of the purest things that I've ever seen anyone have a passion for. Like, since he was a little kid, it's the thing that he loves. He thinks about it all the time, like morning to night, at dinner time, and at bedtime when we were kids, he used to tell us stories and make up, scary stories and narratives and build characters, and he would tell us like bedtime stories over months, and like every night was a different chapter. So he's just like, that's who he is. He is a storyteller. Well, it was crazy because to film the first half of the movie, we basically prepped a tour, like a stadium tour. There was no detail that we left out. We did it was 10 songs. We did full choreography, full costumes, full screens, transitions, sets, multiple different sets. So we spent a lot of time putting that together. It wasn't like a normal kind of production design thing for a movie. It was like, all right, let's make a tour. Well, what is this character's tour like? What's the opening song? Where does it go from here? What's like the points that the audience is surprised and having fun, and kind of like the up and down of it, and planning out the order of the songs to kind of create an arc of the show within the movie. Yeah, very huge leap. I was like not sure how I would do it or if I could do it, but I think one of the things that my dad is amazing at is like believing in people and making them believe that they can kind of accomplish anything. And it's not just like with his kids, he's like that with everyone. He sees something in people and he's like, wow, I see this thing that's special in you and I believe you can do that and more. And he just pushes people, and I think he did that for me, and it was like, what greater of a mentor could you ask for, There's a lot of emotions in it, and it kind of bridges the gap between like thriller and and drama, and it's also like basically a concert in one, so there's a lot of elements to it. You know, I think like something that's beautiful about the way that my dad writes and directs is that no character is one-dimensional and everyone has so many nuances, and I think that's true about humanity. Like he brings that out in his storytelling, and the way that, you know, a villain isn't just a villain. They're maybe a loving dad and they love their daughter and they have a moral system and there's a reason why they do bad things. The Lady Raven character, you know, we imagined her as this kind of very honest and feminine and powerful person, and so I wanted to bring that into all of the songs. But again, there's this mystery, and her costumes are, you know, starts with a hood, and there's all this mystery and darkness to it. So I loved to bring that darkness into the songs, and it makes it super fun in juxtaposition with the film. As a daughter, I'm like, I want my dad to be proud of me, and I want him to like what I'm making, and you know, that's sort of like above all else. That's what I was feeling throughout the process, is like, I want him to be proud, and you know, this opportunity to work with him is such an amazing thing, and I just want to like do it justice. Firstly, I just have to say it's like a dream come true to work with Kid Cudi, who is an idol of mine and someone that I've listened to since I was very young. Russ is amazing, and you know, it was one of the people that I really wanted to work with, and so we just reached out to him, and luckily he said he was into it, and it was just very friendly. He's like the most down-to-earth person, and we just did a FaceTime and talked about, you know, what the movie was about, and I sent him like 5 beats that I made, and he picked one, and I was hoping that he would pick this particular beat, and he did. And then I think I sent him like the beat at 10 p.m. and at 11 p.m. he sent me back like his first verse. And I was like so excited just hearing his voice, which is a voice that I've listened to so much, on like a beat that I made. It was like the funnest thing ever. And I was like playing it for all my friends. I was like, look what he did. And he just absolutely killed it. And so going from there, you know, I did my part next to that, and then we kept progressing. And he was just he's immensely talented and so great to work with.
Well, I play Cooper. Cooper is a firefighter by trade, and he's got a lot going on outside of his domestic obligations and his role in society. He's a father, and he loves his daughter very much, and I think that he finds himself in a pretty tricky situation in this film. As the title suggests, he finds himself in a trap, so he's got to find his way out. And it's very, very dark, and so my whole process was trying to find the buoyancy and the lightness within that, understand what this character could be going through, try to get into his head and feel this all from his perspective, and give him the benefit of the doubt, even though he's someone who's kind of irredeemable. He is irredeemable. But for me, I can't look at him that way. So I've got to ultimately get to know him and get to like him in some respects. All the songs, which are amazing in their own right, have to do with what my character is going through in the film. Saleka she's an extraordinarily talented human being who has made, I think, she's probably had the most to do on this film. Maybe, I'm not gonna say, maybe more than Night. Like she's had to write an album. She's had to learn all the choreography for a stage performance. So basically she's had to go on tour, learn everything that she needed to do to go on tour. She also had to create a character. And none of this is from her perspective. And what she's also doing with the music is that she is soundtracking my character's kind of interactions and the way he's understanding what's happening to him. He's one of the true original filmmakers of our time, and the fact that he can continually put out films that have this sort of like these excellent concepts with terrific performances, and he gets audiences in to see them. It's an enormous achievement. There aren't many people that can do that. Very, very few. And he's got a singular perspective. There's nobody like Knight, and you got to respect that. It's an enormous achievement to be able to kind of create a signature style within this industry, and yet he's always exploring something that's unique to him. And they're always, you can see over the course of his whole career the arc of like who he is and what he's aiming toward. Knight has had such an interesting trajectory in his career, and in his current mode of owning his own films, doing everything himself, I think he's blossoming into one of the great auteurs of our time. For a movie that's about a serial killer, I don't think you could have more fun making a film than we've had making this film. They hired somebody to create an actual concert, like to do all the lighting, to do all the videography, to make it appear, even if it's in the background, like an actual massive concert is going on in this huge stadium. And it does. I mean, they did it. They pulled it off. And to have that constantly being, live playing in the background while you're doing these scenes is a crazy thing to do. But it has an enormous effect because everybody in the audience is there for it. All the people around us knew the lyrics to the songs, were singing along to it. It feels like a real event. The only way that it can work is if we have the audience interested in this character, sort of loving this character, even though they know that there's something very, very dark happening underneath.
I play Dr. Josephine Grant. She's an FBI retired profiler, but she's an expert, and they have brought her in to work on this case because she's so good. She's been writing books and lecturing, so she's still very much, part of that world. It's an unusual concept. The audience knows who the killer is, but nobody else does. Nobody else in the film knows. So the audience follows the story of, the FBI trying to find him and work out what his next move is going to be. Working with Knight is a very, very enjoyable experience because he knows the script so well. He's written the script, he's written the characters, he knows the actors intimately, he knows what they're thinking. He knows when you as an actor are not thinking what he wants you to think. He's also a very good actor himself. And so it's a real collaboration, and he's very encouraging and very supportive and appreciative, and he has a wonderful sense of humor. I am tracking down the killer in the rock concert with my SWAT team. It is great. Everywhere I go, I have my SWAT team. It's really put me up in my grandchildren's estimation, more than I can tell you, to have sent a picture home of me with my SWAT guys. It's just wonderful for me to play a part like this after I've been in this business for 60-odd years. And to suddenly play something so different in a movie by M. Night Shyamalan is very exciting.
I play the thinker who is a huge pop megastar. And I appear in the story doing a cameo appearance with Lady Raven. It's been so great, man. Saleka's is mad cool. I mean, we worked on the song from the ground up together, me, her, and my partner Dot, and it was really great, you know, because we kind of just found each other's kind of vibes right away. You know what I mean? We fit so perfectly on the record when we were putting it together, and you know, just her input. You know, she's very knowledgeable, a very knowledgeable musician, and her voice is phenomenal. The first time I heard the final edit, I was hearing some vocals she did on my hook, and I was just kind of like, oh my God, like our voices sound so beautiful together. It was just like perfect. It was like, of course, this has to happen. I've been wanting to work with M. Night my whole career, man. He is one of my cinematic heroes. And on top of that, he is just the sweetest man.
So I played Parker Wayne. I think the way he fits into the story is just another element of like distraction and excitement that Cooper has to manage, you know, with his daughter, because his daughter is a huge fan of Lady Raven and also Parker Wayne. And so she sees both of them, and it's just heightened level of excitement for her that now he has to further manage. Working with Saleka is amazing. She was really kind of the visionary behind the whole song that me and her did. I just kind of followed her lead, but she's so talented, like producing all the music, and she's really, really good at crafting something like strictly for a scene and for a movie. I don't know, it was amazing to work with her. It's been surreal working with M. Night Shyamalan. I mean, it's like I knew about him obviously just growing up, and he's such a legend. So to work with him has been obviously surreal, but kind of just seeing how laid back he is on set, because you don't really know if like someone's going to be intense or like barking at people, who knows, you know. But he's been so cool, and kind of watching him direct and getting like giddy still about certain takes is just inspiring to see. Like the love is still there, you know. I think the most like inspiring thing was watching Night direct and watching how excited he would get like while the take is going on, because it was just so cool to still see that like kind of childlike excitement and enthusiasm at this stage of his career. It's not like this is his first movie, but watching him direct, it felt like he still is just so ecstatic about every take and loves the process, and that's really inspiring. Shooting the arena footage was familiar, you know, so I feel like this whole role was like a very nice segue into the movie world for me, because it wasn't too outside of my comfort zone. I was somewhat playing myself, you know.